Jake Mason is a musician and a founding member of Cookin on Three Burners, an Australian funk trio best known for their song This Girl, which became a big hit in 2016 after being remixed by French DJ Kungs. And he's here just now. How are you today?
I'm good, man. I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here. So, how would you describe your music for people that haven't really heard you before?
Right. Well, I mean, Cooking on Three Burners, we started off playing lots of jazz and we're a
Hmm.
trio, so three of us. So I guess we started playing jazz and then we've somehow ended up being remixed into the mainstream pop. So
Yeah.
it's a bit of a journey, but I guess we're always twisting and turning, but we always try and find ourselves in the kind of funk soul
Hmm.
world a little more. That's our sort of home.
Yeah, and I guess because maybe your most popular song is a remixed version, does that annoy you that maybe people aren't familiar with your more funk sound generally?
No, it's actually quite cool because it kind
Mm,
of gives us another side. I mean, when we do gigs, we don't play, EDM sort of music. We
yeah.
play our funk and soul. So it's great. And we've got kind of lots of different sides. And a lot of people come across from listening to that song and find out where we're at and they dig it too. So yeah, it's
Mm,
good.
yeah. So, what was your earliest memory of music, really?
Oh, earliest memory of music. Jeepers. Well, growing up, we always had a piano in the house, and so it was, one of those things where the piano was always tinkled along when you went past it, and then
Yeah.
kind of grew from there. And most of the other guys in the band, we've always sort of had music around the house, so I think that's
Mm,
really important. It didn't just sort of drop on us, like when we were in our teens or anything. We always
yeah.
had it going on. So.
Yeah. And when did you decide that you wanted to do music professionally?
Probably in high school, like when I
Mm,
was, in my early teens, kind of was having so much fun playing music that I thought, I'm either going to give this a really good red hot go or,
yeah.
do something else. I mean, I tried a few other things, but music always was there. And so I'm, yeah,
Mm,
super pleased that I followed it through and
yeah.
still following.
Yeah. And did Cooking on Three Burners come quite early, or were you in maybe other bands or solo stuff before?
Look, Cooking on Three Burners came when we went to music university together. The
Mm,
the three of us were all studying at the same place in the same time, and we were needing to pay our rent. So we're like, hey, let's just do some gigs. And so we were
yeah.
doing these little cafe gigs and paying our rent, and that's pretty much how it started. So I mean, that was early on in my, I guess, professional career. And it's been great. I mean, that band's nearly, 24 or 5 years old now. So
Yeah.
it's been going for a while.
Yeah. And this is one of those rubbish questions, but I want to know the answer. Where did the name Cooking on Three Burners actually come from?
Cooking on three bands. Well, obviously there's three of us, and
Ah.
we're cooking and we're
Yeah.
making music. But there is a jazz record by a guitarist Tal Farlow that's called Cooking on All Burners, and
Oh.
we appropriated a little smidge of that as well.
Yeah.
So it's a combo.
Yeah. And I like the fact that there's no G at the end of cooking.
Oh yeah, no G. It's got to have the apostrophe in there, or whatever it's called.
Yeah. And of course, the most successful charting song was the remix of This Girl by Kungs. But what's the original story behind the original version? How did that song actually come about?
Yeah, well, we wrote that song back in 2008 for a record that we were working on at the time, and we were
Hmm.
just, we were writing tunes for that record, and our main aim was just to write songs that we loved. We weren't kind of trying to chase any chart-topping hits or anything. We were
Yeah.
just writing soul tunes that we love, and that was the sweet soul tune that we had on the record that, yeah, came out the year later, 2009, and yeah, we wrote most of that record in 2008 on a record called Soul Messin.
Hmm.
And yeah, it pretty much. I mean, it had a good. We pressed it onto 45 as well, so it had a good go of itself. And then it sort of exploded in 2016 with the remix.
Yeah. And how did that remix actually come about?
Well, I think so. Kung's Valentin Brunel, aka he, I think he heard it on YouTube, like how you have a 7-inch playing on the screen, and
Yeah.
someone had uploaded a version of it. So the kind of funk and soul world had promoted that so much that it had come through to he was 18 or 19 at the time, and so yeah,
Wow.
it
Yeah.
connected with him, and he was like got onto us and said, hey, what do you think about a remix? And
Hmm.
when we sorted out stuff, and from then on it was exciting.
Yeah. And what was your reaction when you found out it was topping the charts all around the world?
Well, it was a bit of disbelief. I mean, we are, Australia is not super close to Europe, so
Yeah.
it started going up the charts in France, and I vividly remember, texting the other guys in the bank, hey, are you seeing this? What's going on here?
Hmm.
And it was pretty exciting to watch, but because weren't there on the ground, it was a bit surreal.
Yeah.
It definitely didn't do what it did in Australia. You didn't do what it did in Europe in Australia. So we were
Yeah.
only kind of getting it when we logged onto the internet and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think it was massive in Europe because I think the first time I heard it, I was like traveling around in France and maybe Belgium as well, and then came back home and still heard it. It's one of those international songs.
Yeah, it was a bit of an earworm, which was
Yeah.
we love that.
Yeah. Do you prefer the original or the remix?
Oh, that's a tricky question. Well, they're
Mm.
kind of quite different. The original is much slower. It's this sweet soul kind of thing, and it's got a chorus in it, whereas the remix has got a different sort of chorus in it.
Yeah.
So they're quite different. And look, I love the remix because what it does, it brings that organic, summery flavor that we had
Mm.
in the original, but puts it right in the middle of the pop world. Whereas the original version is very much in kind of late 60s kind of sweet soul world, which is
Yeah.
also where I love. So I love them both, man. I
Mm.
couldn't choose either.
Yeah. Does your accountant prefer the remix?
Oh, the accountant. Well, the remix, has a lot more appeal, so gets a few
Mm.
more spins on Spotify than the
Yeah.
original. But hey, we
Yeah.
can't.
Well, apparently in 2016, This Girl, the remix, was the most Shazammed song of the year or something like that.
Yeah, I guess that's in the dance category, not the total most Shazam song, but in the
Mm.
dance song, it was, and that was I think that was when Shazam was kind of almost at its peak of like
Yeah.
people were using it, going, "Wow, how can I check out a song?" And that wow, this new technology is amazing. So, yeah, I think we caught the peak of that one. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. So, of course, a lot of your songs have featured singers on them, don't they? So, how do you actually get the chance to work with these people?
Yeah, I guess look, I never really thought about how we do it. But
Mm.
that's kind of a bit of our mantra is, because we're a trio and essentially we're an instrumental trio. We play instrumental funk songs and deep funk songs. But we always like to get singers in or various different other kind of guests to work with. And so having guest singers is the best way to, I guess, keep it fresh for us. We
Yeah.
work with different people and it makes it exciting, and we, write songs for different artists because we think, they'll like a certain thing. And so, yeah, I
Mm.
guess that's our motivation. But how we actually do it, it's just a matter, we just kind of pick up the phone and see if
Yeah.
they want to do it.
Yeah. Who would be your dream collaboration then?
Oh, the dream. Well, I'm gonna be a bit quirky here. I would have to say James Brown would be our
Oh.
dream collaborator. It's
Yeah.
never gonna happen, but
Mm.
that man was just amazing with what he did, and so we're
Yeah.
pretty influenced by the whole funk scene, James Brown. So yeah,
Yeah.
he would be our ideal.
Yeah. Well, you never know. They can do all sorts with technology these days, can't they?
I
So,
know they can. Yes,
yeah.
holograms, everything.
Yeah. And in terms of people you have collaborated with, have you got any favourites? I know it's hard to choose.
It is a bit hard. I mean, we love collaborating with Kylie August, and she
Mm.
sang This Girl,
Yeah.
and I actually just saw Kylie a few days ago, and she's just released her most recent record. So yeah, Kylie's awesome. We love working with her, but yeah, we love there's so many guests that we work with. So yeah, I'm not going to say I've got a favorite.
Yeah. Are there any people that you would maybe want to work with, but you think wouldn't actually work with your sound, but you still sort of admire them out with that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's quite fun to juxtapose, say like a rock singer with a funky jazz kind of backing, and sometimes it teases things out like you never
Mm.
imagine would be there. So like I always do like that idea of crossing over to the genres that you would never think that would be quite that would work, because they actually often they do, but
Mm.
not always.
Yeah. So, what is your actual process in writing a song?
Oh well, we have a few different processes, but
Mm.
the kind of the real fun one is when the three of us are in the room and we just literally jam and we play.
Yeah.
And when we feel like we've got something going on, we'll someone will press record on their phone, so at least we don't forget it. And we
Yeah.
just have this organic way of just working together, and the song kind of comes out from the mist,
Mm.
and then we'll start refining it. We'll come back a couple of days later and listen to the things that we've done while we're jamming and kind of start picking the best bits and putting them together.
Yeah. And you
It's a bit
record a
more
lot.
complicated than that, but
Yeah. And you record a lot from your home studio, don't you?
yeah, so everything comes from our studio here in Melbourne, which is
Yeah.
where I am right now. And we try and record pretty much live to analog tape, which gives us a bit of that
Wow.
kind of good love.
Yeah.
And then obviously we're not immune to modern technology. We definitely
Yeah.
use that to our advantage, and we put in the computer and do all sort of funky stuff with it in there. And yeah,
Mm. Yeah. And recording at home, I guess the pandemic won't have really changed many things for you, unless I guess there would have been times where you couldn't perform together.
yeah. Well, I mean, unfortunately, Melbourne is. I think got the prize for being the most locked down city in the
Yeah.
world, which means that yeah, we really haven't even. I mean, it's we all have our own home studios, but we haven't
Mm.
really been able to get together all that much. So it's
Yeah.
been tough. I mean, we've started doing some gigs lately, but we're definitely we've got a lot of ideas on the bench that we need to work through in the studio, and we're
Mm.
literally only just getting back in there now. So.
Yeah. And is there anything coming up in the future that I guess if you've got any gigs that you might be doing or any future songs?
Well, we had a tour to the UK and Europe, planned in 2020, and that obviously
Mm.
fell over. And so I guess we're a little bit tentative about when we put our foot back in. But
Yeah.
as soon as it feels like things have settled down a smidge more, we'll definitely be back and do a bunch of club shows because we love touring and traveling. But until that happens, we'll be just in the studio making more music. That's our
Mm.
plan, and hopefully another record not too far down the track.
Yeah, definitely. Well, where can we keep up to date with you and listen to all your music and things?
Yeah, well, I guess if you're old school and old fashioned,
Yeah.
go to your favorite record store and
Mm.
and look for some Cooking on Three Burners, because we've got lots of 7 inches and LPs. And if they're not there, talk to the person behind the counter and tell them to
Yeah.
get them in. But if you're more on the technical side, jump on the streamers. We're on all that sort of stuff, and social media. We're kicking around there too. So come and say hi and drop us a line.
Great. Well, many thanks for coming on the show today. It's been great to talk to you.
Thanks, man. Well, thanks for having me. I'm glad we could finally hook it up.
Yeah.